everyone talked about Salah and Marmoush coming to the tournament, but I would say Egypt have the trio of players. Imam Ashur, who's a bit of a chaos merchant.
Yeah.
He was, I mean, before the World Cup, no one was expecting him to really produce like this and perform like this. He ended up scoring his first international goal against Belgium. Fantastic. And we've had Haitham Hassan, the one who did that beautiful dribble against Argentina for both goals. He was not even in the national team. He only came in this year, so it was great to see him do that. He's actually a France under-17 player.
Yeah.
So he was built all the way through there in the second division of Spain. And then, of course, Zico, the great story. Zico, the one who scored Egypt's second goal.
Hello and welcome to the Al-Majlis podcast powered by Break. Each week I'm joined by guests from around the kingdom to discuss all things football. And today we're talking about the World Cup. I'm joined again by Mo and Alex and Aman. How are we guys? You okay?
Doing well.
I mean, it's been 4 years in the making. Talking of special occasions, and I think obviously Mo, you spent the most amount of time out of all of us paying attention to what's gone on. This World Cup, what's everyone's feelings been around it?
Well, I mean, the biggest World Cup ever. But I don't know, yes, this World Cup, I mean, had expectations for it. There have been days where we thought it's going to be the best World Cup ever. Days where we thought, oh, this is just what is going on. But I think, you know, for all the craziness that's happened, for all the ups and downs, it has been a memorable World Cup.
I know, for obviously, we spoke. I think we was a bit worried about coming into this tournament, having the expansion of teams.
Yeah.
Obviously, being in the US as well. Across US, Canada, Mexico, it's not being kind of a predominant football, soccer over there. So there's already a problem in the name. But how do you found the World Cup?
It's been great. It's been great having it in dual nations. Obviously, you've got the American stadiums and the atmosphere completely different to, for example, for the England-Mexico game and when you're playing in altitude. So it's good to have various different host nations as well. And yeah, it's been unbelievable to watch.
And man, obviously, your experiences.
Yeah, I think it's been good. I actually think it's been a very good tournament. The bit that's probably made it better is there was a lot of negativity because of the States and all the politics side, but that hasn't actually fed through into the football, thankfully. So that's probably actually what's made it more enjoyable is...
Minus one game, but yeah.
Yeah,
fair game.
Yeah, no, and I think obviously, again, I still think there's been a few problems. I think the ticket prices have been, I was lucky enough to go to Qatar where I attended 8 different games and, you know, being able to jump around. Again, I don't do the weather here World Cup like I did at the Qatar one, but obviously, yeah, you know, to go from Mexico to Canada to the States to see, you know, I mean, the facilities that they have in those countries are phenomenal. The stadiums, the way that they're able to kind of had the halftime shows and the fans around, you know, building up to the game. Like, there's so much around them, which is great. And I mean, for me, I was skeptical. I'll be honest. I wouldn't say I was looking forward to the tournament. I wasn't looking forward to the timings. I wasn't looking forward to, as you mentioned, the kind of some of the political stuff around it. I mean, we'll maybe touch on the Balogun red card as well, because that will kind of move into our referee chat. But there's been a lot of things that I was worried about.
In a month till normal, like season resumes.
I think my pre-season is going to be a bit empty.
You might spend some time with your wife.
Oh yeah, I have to spend some time with my wife.
You'll probably look at like third division South America or something.
Yeah, 100%. There's some leagues around the world that are still going 100%. I'll find something. Don't worry about me.
And obviously, I just touched upon Balogun and some of the referee decisions, some of the decisions that are taking place off the pitch. What's your views been on the referees, the AR throughout this tournament?
Well, funny enough, at the beginning of the tournament, I was fine. Like, things were going well, things were going smooth. There wasn't too much going on, but obviously, as the stakes rise, you know, the first game, no one is going to be talking too much about the stuff. But when your qualification, is hanging by the balance, when you go like, okay, for example, Scotland against Morocco, maybe they felt that they needed a penalty, or, you go Saudi against Cape Verde, we need to qualify and we need this foul. That's when the stakes started rising, was when we started to see referees maybe take worse decisions. VAR is going to, come in a bit. And of course, when there's constant like bias with players, especially the big ones, Ronaldo and Messi, Ronaldo fans might feel, oh, Messi got this, Messi fans might feel Ronaldo got that. But I feel over the course of the tournament, started to feel maybe our sport is becoming a bit too much over-regulated.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah.
Like, I get, we were speaking before about the 2010 Lampard goal, had goal line technology been there, it needed to. Yeah. For me, that's a goal. Goals are important. But then fouls, like, how far behind does a foul have to be? And is there an advantage you play before you can actually cancel it for a goal? Is there a yard limit? Is there a time limit? Or is there a play limit? And is it fair to really consider that if the ball is still in play for 5 minutes since that foul and then a goal goes in, it's like, oh, well, there was a 4.5 minutes ago, there was a foul and you play it hasn't been stopped. And so therefore we have to cancel the goal. So I feel like there's a bit of over-regulation. And I've always said, the more you go into the fine details, it just becomes, you move away
You're
from the
looking for
essence,
something, aren't you? More than just checking. It's actually what is wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, offside initially was simple. You can't be ahead of the defender and between the goalkeeper. But now it's your anterior
T-shirt line.
deltoid, right? Is
Or-
your
yeah.
anterior deltoid just moving up? I mean, what if I'm a shoulders guy and I just really work at the gym, so my shoulders are popping up? Like, I mean, it's just small things. And then when you see a player's clearly onside, but then his toe, his toe is just offside. And it's like, is that really an advantage, or are we going to be all minute? But maybe his hand is fully out, but his toe is in, but that's not offside. So obviously there's all these different rules. And I'm no refereeing expert, but I feel like, as someone who's been watching football for over 20 years, a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
A lot of confusion is what I feel.
Try like rugby's the easiest comparison with video and everything, but it's got a clear code and stuff. So they do what they do, but football is such a different sport. You shouldn't if you look at offside is the key one. That in a way, if you use VAR, you could argue the old rule of clear daylight. Like give your benefit to the attacker if it's not much in it. It worked. Yeah.
The thing is as well, again, when we start to look at these videos, it's so slowed down. Where is the point of contact at the ball?
On a foul, yeah.
What was the one with the head? A Croatia goal that was disallowed. Yeah, against Portugal. Like, they showed the thing. It's like, I'll touch his hair. Yeah. Like it was that meal where it's probably touched his hair, thought it didn't touch his body.
Yeah. I mean, I still, until this day, I don't understand what's happened there. So I've been told there is contact, but there is no contact.
Yeah.
It's an accidental contact. There's actually a few decisions, even with the whole semi-automatic offside in Qatar's goal, the goal they did in Switzerland. That was the first time this tournament I was like, there's something I need to think about. Because to the naked eye, it was offside, right? I was told by this refereeing account that no, there's a semi-automatic thing, and that they've considered it's not offside, so they in the penalty. Yeah. But the thing is, we as fans are skeptics. You need to tell us, and you need to show us, because when we see with the naked eye that's offside, all right, you need to show us how the technology is working, because the whole point is quick feel like maybe these aren't from the right way. Then you've obviously got the Croatia-Portugal one. If I was a Croatia fan, I would definitely feel like I was hard done by whatever the rules may be, because it's just the hair. And then, of course, the big one, right? Because that whole one was, there's the number one is his intent, was it an accident? And then number two was the usage of VAR. Yeah. What I found out was, so actually the usage of VAR in that case was wrong. Yeah. Funny enough, I was doing a story this week on the 2009 Confederations Cup, Brazil against Egypt. Howard Webb was refereeing that game. Blocked something, the line, but there you were not allowed to use video evidence for referee decisions. But the fourth official checked the TV, the TV monitors, and told Howard Webb is a handball. And that's what happened. So back then it was banned, and now here we are, 17 years later, and now video is taking all the ring. Yeah. So when I saw that, and because I was a kid back then, and I found out that Egypt made a complaint. You're not allowed to use video evidence. Now here we are, 17 years later, and look what's happening. So refereeing has gone through a big change. I don't think for the better.
I mean, I completely agree in the fact that they've now got the names on the back of their shirts. Soon are they going to have numbers? Are they going to?
They'll do their own entrance.
Signatures as we
WWE style.
Whenever they do a red card, they'll slide on their knees after in the corner.
Referee coming in with Triple H's theme song. The game.
Yeah, we're probably going to have enough coverage that they deserve at the moment, because this is exactly, the reason why we all feel the way we do. Obviously, shocks of the tournament, teams of the tournament, love to hear. I know we've touched upon it in the episode on Wednesday, but what's been the standout player, the standout team, the standout person that you wasn't expecting to kind of show up and really has.
I mean, it has to be. There's been a lot of shocks, but it has to be Cape Verde, right?
Yeah.
Like finishing second in a group where everyone thought they finished last.
Yeah.
The debut World Cup. And if you look at the backstory of the players, almost all of them have been rejected, sent to the second, third division, told they're not good enough. And then to face Argentina in a game where everyone was like, yeah, well, great. Their journey comes to an end. Let's put into perspective, Cape Verde have played against 3 former world champions in their first 4 World Cup games. And they took Argentina to extra time, equalized in extra time as well.
With a fabulous
Well,
goal.
they were unbeaten in 90 minutes, weren't they? The tournament.
Again, 4 games, 90 minutes, they weren't beaten. And it wasn't against, like, with all due respect to teams, but teams that haven't won the World Cup, like I say, Mexico or Poland. We're talking about Argentina, the defending champions, Spain, favorites into this tournament, and Uruguay, who, yes, they haven't won the World Cup since 1950, but still no pushovers in this tournament,
Yeah.
It was a good one for heart in a way, wasn't it, and character?
Yeah,
like
100%. It's one of the stories. I mean, there are stories that show the 48-team World Cup is a good idea, and there are stories that show that it wasn't. Cape Verde is definitely, like, if there is a case study for the 48-team World Cup, it would definitely be Cape Verde. And I put a second behind it. Curaçao's draw with Ecuador, 15 saves, world record at the World Cup in 90 minutes. I mean, yes, it was a point. Yes, they got eliminated. Yes, they didn't score that game. But Curaçao is even a smaller. Cape Verde is 500,000 population. Curaçao is around 150,000. So it's absolutely crazy.
But I'd even put to the point of Qatar scoring in the World Cup, the Curaçao goal against Germany.
Yeah.
I know it ended up being 7-1, and I said at the time, I'd be glad it was only 1-0 and it was like an equalising goal, because if it was 6-0, the celebrations wouldn't have felt as much. But I'm sitting watching that game going, hold on a minute, like what's happened here, sort of thing. So, to see some of these teams that, again, naturally we wouldn't kind of correlate with a World Cup.
Yeah.
But actually seeing them turn up, so now the exposure they get, we spoke about goalkeepers in the last episode. It's a shame that they're like 37, Rue, Vazinia's 40. Like, it's a shame, because actually, if they was 5, 6, 7 years younger, they're going to play for some top clubs now and adding value to the countries, adding value to the clubs that they're going to play for. But then the countries like Cape Verde, Curaçao, people are going to be going, hold on a minute, if there's an opportunity to play for this team, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, exactly.
So it kind of feels like there's been a lot of benefits towards that. And I think, again, we're going to see a bigger, better competition in 2030 and 2034, especially in Saudi. We talk about all of the theatrics that have taken place in the US. If there's one place that's going to top that, it's going to be the Kingdom, right?
Well, let's see how many teams we have by then. Is it maybe 64 in 2030 and then 128?
Is that possible? I mean, how many teams?
Basically go over the whole pre-season.
Will there even be a qualifying round needed?
Well, that's it at some point.
It's a straight knockout stage between 211 teams.
Yeah.
One team gets a bye, the former world champion. Everyone else is straight knockouts. That's the way it should be. That's a World Cup.
That's like combining when they wanted to combine the leagues, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like UEFA wanted to
Super League.
Yeah, that's like a Super World Cup that maybe we can look into that. And for you guys, obviously, again, like any standout players that you've seen that you maybe wasn't expecting, or that you was expecting and they just been better.
No, I was going to say I'm going to be biased again because of England, but I think Jude Bellingham was getting a bit of pressure before the start of the tournament. Do we start him? Do we put Ramsey in there? Are there other players that can, sit in that position? But I think Jude Bellingham's really stepped up when it's mattered most. I know obviously Kane's grabbed headlines in terms of goal scoring, but I think Jude Bellingham has been a fantastic player on the pitch, not only in his performances, but the character that he's shown. We were talking about this earlier in terms of the England-Mexico match and the attitude and the character that was required. So for me, it would be Jude Bellingham for England. Don't know.
All the big ones have kind of like, you think Mbappe's had a good tournament, Messi's done well. All right, Ronaldo's
When was the last time though we had like all like besides Ronaldo of course, but like the top 5 goal scorers of
Still
this
in the
tournament, are
tournament,
like
yeah.
they're still in the tournament and they're all competing. They've
Yeah, I
got
was
Van Van
thinking
like
about that.
Haaland, Mbappe, Messi, just as expected, and Kane of course. So I mean, it's really good to see because at some point, 2010 World Cup, I remember the top scorer was like 3 players sharing it with 5 goals. So we've come a long way, of course. I'll add, I'm gonna be a bit biased, but for me, the stand-up players at this tournament, Saibari from Morocco, and Egypt's 3 players. Everyone talked about Salah, Marmoush coming to the tournament, but I would say Egypt have the trio of players. Imam Ashur, who's a bit of a chaos merchant. He was, I mean, before the World Cup, no one was expecting him to really produce like this and perform like this. He ended up scoring his first international goal against Belgium. Fantastic. Then we've had Haysam Hassan, the one who did that beautiful dribble against Argentina for both goals. He was not even in the national team. He only came in this year, so it was great to see him do that. He's actually a France under-17 player, so he was built all the way through there and in the second division of Spain. And then, of course, Zico, the great story. Zico, the one who scored Egypt's second goal, and his father passed away at 11, and then him and his brother ended up, you know, giving up on his football career to support his brother. They worked at the family shop, tried to help their mom, and then he ended up building his way through the lower divisions in Egypt to get to a top club. And then before the World Cup, packing his bags, ready to go to the Sahel in Egypt for a holiday, gets called by the manager. He says, "You're coming to the World Cup." Scores a goal in his international debut against Russia, scores in his next friendly against Brazil, gets Egypt's first win with a goal and assist in World Cup history, right? The first win in World Cup history. And then, of course, against Argentina. I think for me, that's also one of the best stories of the tournament.
I think that's the pinnacle of what the World Cup is, right? Seeing people from all different backgrounds and seeing what they can do. I'm actually going to say probably my favourite player to watch from a non-England side as being Quinteros from Mexico. And he's playing in the Saudi Pro League, and he ripped the Pro League up last season, and then to go and continue that into this World Cup, it shows again the standard of the club football that is now taking place over here. To then go and be able to produce that in the biggest stage in international football is something that's, you know, remarkable and something that we've all got to enjoy, you know, into next season.
No, definitely.
What's going to be taking place in the Pro League.
100%. And I mean, it's great to see also Quinteros. I mean, remember, he's also originally Colombian. He was a naturalized Mexican. He took them in and they took him in. He felt like, you know, Colombia weren't picking him. And then he ended up doing that with Mexico at his debut World Cup. So great stories all around at this World Cup, to be honest. I think that's something that's added. You know, obviously with more teams, you get more stories. You get more players like that. Like players who you didn't even think, like Paraguay, the defender who scored the winning penalty against Germany, Jose Maria Canale. This guy had never started or played 90 minutes for Paraguay before that. It's almost by accident. And then how do you find yourself there, right? Like that is a World Cup story. If it wasn't a 2018 World Cup, you never know, man, it'll happen. So, yeah.
100%. Guys, thanks again for joining. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Ma salama.